where can people find you on social media? Or do you want them to find you?
Good question. I'm good.
M.
Oh.
M.
Mom!
Are you a lady like me? Introspective, beautiful. Oh, are you intellectual like me? Beguiled by a bargain? You like wild times? Oh, like me? Are you serving the community like me? Well, if you are, then you must be very Delta.
Today's guest has a distinct point of view, whether the cameras are rolling or not. It's the girl with the pearl everything. It's Pearl.
Hi.
You're the girl with the pearl everything.
Aw, thank you. That's lovely.
Pearly.
I'm going to embrace that.
You are?
Yeah.
Are you 70? No, I'm just kidding.
Not yet.
What's happening? What are you doing? What's everything? I want to know because I know that you bought a home just to like deconstruct the home.
Yeah. So a couple years ago, I rebuilt a shuttle bus into a camper van and then a smaller camper van. I redid both of those. So I guess this was the next evolution in my building resume.
How do you know how to do all that? Are you like, did you go to school for this?
Oh God, no. I didn't go to school for anything. I don't know. It's just a lot of trial and error, I guess. It's amazing what you can do with just like the basics, though. Just some basic carpentry skills. I'm very limited in my knowledge, but we're gay, so we make things look
right,
more spectacular than they probably are.
I love that. Have you always been good at that?
No, my partner had more experience building because his grandfather was a carpenter, so he grew up watching him. So I was able to learn the basics, like building our bus together.
So with the bus, obviously working on the inside of it, but do you work on the engine as well?
Oh, no.
Yes.
No. There's a lot of things that I can't do, like electrical. I don't do electrical. I don't do plumbing, So, but yeah, the house is actually my project. So yeah, it was something that I wanted to do on my own. So I kind of made it happen.
Okay, say you hang up a picture.
Okay.
Do you do like a stud finder? Do you do like all that stuff? Or are you just like, it goes where I want it to go?
You definitely should use a stud finder because if you don't, then you have to use a
thingy.
A thingy. Thank you. Exactly. So yeah, you can't just fling it up anywhere because
see, I can't do all that. I wish I was more diligent. Like there's steps that are involved so that it's done right.
I mean, hanging a picture is pretty basic. That's like,
but what if it's heavy?
You can always get a friend to help you.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Or just call me.
And you could do it.
Yeah.
Have you always had the ability to use a stud finder? Have you always knew where the studs were?
I have a built-in stud finder.
Right.
Yeah. So it works out.
When you're renovating, do you listen to music? Do you have TV on? What do you?
Yes.
Okay. So what would you listen to?
I love classical music. You know how everybody does the Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year? Mine was so freaking lame. It was like Jackie Gleason and Bach and Vivaldi.
That's great.
Yeah. Nothing worth sharing on my Instagram.
Is there a season to these projects? Like, are you trying to do most of that stuff in the spring? Are you trying to like avoid winter, or is it just whenever?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing my backyard was definitely a spring situation because in Arizona, it can be 120 degrees during the summer.
Are you in Arizona now?
I am.
You are?
Yeah.
Why do I feel like you were in the Pacific Northwest for a time? Yes? No?
Yeah, that's where I was doing van life.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was actually in Los Feliz, but then it just started getting really overwhelming there. Traffic is crazy here, and I just wasn't feeling it. So we went up to Lake Arrowhead, and we were there for 2 years, and that was like the best thing ever.
Is it just like the the energy in general? Is it like
It's just beautiful. I feel like it's LA's best kept secret because you're surrounded by nature and forests and rivers and kind of small town vibes, but you're
Mhm.
still LA adjacent. You can get to LAX in an hour and a half.
right?
So if I could do it all over again, I probably would just stay there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I ended up going up to PNW in the shuttle bus that we built.
And did you ever see Sasquatch while you were there?
I did. I didn't see Sasquatch, but I do have a Bigfoot story.
Tell me,
Yeah.
because I feel like there's people that think it's like ridiculous, and I don't know why that would be ridiculous. Like, I don't think that it's far off from 100% reality.
Yeah, no, I always thought it was kind of ridiculous until my Sasquatch story.
And what happened? Like, where were you?
Okay, so I did a lot of house sitting up there.
Mhm.
I met this couple who turned out to be demented, but anyway, they needed house sitters.
Okay.
So they lived in the middle of nowhere, like in Forks, Washington, and there was no neighbors for miles, and it was 45 minutes to the nearest grocery store. No way to live, by the way. Um, so I was house sitting and we were out in the hot tub at like midnight, just drinking. And the first night we were out there and not a lot happened, but all of a sudden, when all of the animals stopped making noises, all of the crickets stopped chirping, and it's just like this dead silence. That happened. And then we heard footsteps all around us.
Mm-mm.
And it's creepy because the hot tub we were in, it's like a good 4 to 5 minute walk from the house. So it's deep in the woods. So all of a sudden, it was dead quiet, just like in this room. And then all of a sudden we heard this roar, and it started like really low, like ooh, and then it started to crescendo. And it went,
Mm-mm.
and then it just kept going for 2 minutes.
Stop. That's
Like,
so weird.
and you can't do that. Like a human can't
right.
yell for that long. And we were frozen, like holding our cups, staring at each other while it was happening. And then it happened like 2 or 3 more times after that.
Wow.
And our initial thought was, wow, I can't believe elk would yell
Not
like that
elk.
in the middle of the night. Like, what time is it? Don't they sleep? Because just immediately you're like, what the hell could possibly be
right.
making this noise? So I looked it up on YouTube. Elk calls sounded nothing like that. Looked up Bigfoot noise, and that's exactly what it sounded like. So, yeah, I don't recommend living that remote because of that.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems what they say. So many people go missing
Yes.
in the Pacific Northwest specifically.
Could have been me.
It could have been,
Mhm.
but it's such a beautiful place.
Yeah, it is. It gets old though. It's good for a weekend or a week, but
Mhm.
yeah, I wouldn't recommend being out. There's so few people there for a reason.
Right.
It can be dangerous to be that remote, like living that remotely and that isolated. Like anything
Mhm.
can happen. You could have an accident, or even like if you get a flat tire, driving down some dirt road or something, like you can be, pardon
Right.
my French.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I thought that I wanted. I wanted this like remote cinematic YouTube life, but I'm a little bit more of a city, like a little bit more of a city person than I lead on.
Do you ever do those plunges in the water, the ice
No.
cold water?
I
I
don't know.
always get this feeling that you're
No.
like, you're very into like so severely into nature that you would do all of that. Like what's holistic? I always get
Honestly,
that from
I'm
you.
not that into nature anymore. Like,
Really?
I think I just maximized a lot in my 20s, and I lived out in the woods and stuff. So now, I enjoy my activities inside. I enjoy
Mhm.
air conditioning, enjoy eating. I like to decorate. I like to build things,
Mhm.
I love the outdoors. I love the beach and stuff, but like I don't want to hike for 5 hours. anymore.
Right.
I'm good. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what
Like-
you mean. I really believe in this Dolly Parton philosophy, which is design, refine, and shine.
Uh-huh.
And so it's not decade specific, but you can look at the decades of your life a little bit in that way. And so like your 20s, you like try out places and people and food and what makes me tick and how do I respond in this situation? And then you get to your 30s and it really, you're like, you know what, this worked
It
for
just
me.
gets real. Yeah.
I know what my boundaries are. I know what I need.
Yeah. I was like that. Okay. So I go to Hawaii quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go out there and I had this mission to see every waterfall that I could find, like on the trails, off the trails, whatever it takes. But now when I go, I just want to be at the resort.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to rent a car. I don't want to go around. I want to sit and stare. And that's it.
Then that's it.
Yeah. So, you get a little older
Mhm.
and a little less adventurous. So,
No, that is so true. Like
Yeah.
I would love to say that like I became that person, but I've always been that person. I've always been the
Yeah.
laziest bitch in town.
yeah,
And people will ask me, so what are you going to do today? And I'm like, probably sit here and
Nothing.
stare at the wall.
yeah, yeah. I'm very sedentary, and I enjoy sunset from a patio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're living van life, is there like exceptions you have to make to like cooking or like
There's exceptions. Oh my God, it's so annoying. Like it really is misrepresented on YouTube. It's
really?
yes, definitely. I don't recommend it. Yeah. I'm a little too bougie to live in a van.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why would you say that?
Well, first of all, I'm an artist. Like that's what I do. It's how I make all my money. So I need like a studio
Sure.
space. I need storage.
Mm-hmm.
So, just not having a closet, not having a proper
Right.
restroom, not having a real shower. You can have little makeshift versions of all those things, but once you hit a certain age, you want to be comfortable in life,
Yeah.
You want to be able to spread out,
Yeah, I mean, I guess because of social media, we're able to see more people like living a van life or tiny houses, container homes. All of
Mhm.
it's intriguing to me because I feel like they are approaches to home ownership or space ownership. But like you said, there's sacrifices you have to make depending upon
Yeah.
even a few square feet here or there takes away
Mhm.
something you need.
Yeah. Well, also, when you're living in a van, any stranger has the right to walk right up to your van and stand right there, right outside of your
Sure.
window. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I didn't always feel safe. If you have to take a piss in the middle of the night, there's freaking lions and bears running
Right.
around. I can't tell you how many times I'd wake up in the morning and there would be paw prints everywhere and mysterious animal
Mhm.
trackings everywhere. Like that's creepy.
It is kind of creepy.
Yeah, like you can die.
Well, and then also just the idea of like people in general that are curious, like whose van is this? And
Oh
is it-
my God. Yeah, like pumping gas.
Mhm.
Jeremy will be pumping gas, and then, some random blonde lady sticks her head in and goes, wow. I'm like, this is my house.
Yeah, this is our home. What's
yeah.
happening?
Yeah. It draws people in, and people are entitled.
Yeah.
So,
It's a weird, weird thing to experience, especially again, when they see it on social media and then they see it in person. So
Yeah.
if they see that van in person, they're like, well, how does this work? Well, we're not at the LA County Fair, like
yeah.
to look inside.
Yeah. But it's great, like for someone in their 20s. I'm glad I did it when I did it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in my resting comfortably in my 30s, I'm good.
Let's take a break. Are you queer? Are you an artist? Pride is coming up and we're looking to feature art that is very Delta. Send your art to readmedelta@gmail.com and we just might feature it on the show. We are back with Pearl. You are very outdoorsy. You are very skilled. You are very aware. But what about Roxanne?
Yes.
Is Roxanne somebody who likes the outdoors?
Roxanne loves traveling, being in the outdoors, communing with nature, and things usually go wrong when that happens.
Why is that?
She's got bad luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's coming back bigger and better than
Where
ever.
does Roxanne come from?
Back when I started YouTube and I started getting brand deals,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to figure that, like, navigate that as a moron, who's traumatized. And now I'm, trying to act like James Charles with my brand deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is just imposter syndrome
Okay.
and messiness, but, trying to figure it out and up everything along the way. Yeah.
What would you say like is the strongest place that you draw inspiration from? Is it music? Is it other people's art, movies? When it comes to, because you create in so many ways. I mean, I don't think people quite understand that when we hear the term artist, a lot of people think, oh, so you draw. And it's like, oh yeah, draw and then turn that into something else.
Yeah.
And then, be inspired by that to then do this makeup.
Right.
Or create this room.
Right. Honestly, I do have many different skills and hobbies and interests, but my problem is I don't really know how to maximize my skills. I don't know how to hone in and maximize and create a long-term profitable career off of anything. So I think that's where my inspiration comes from, is just this desperation to not have to get a job again.
No, I hear that. I mean, I think, but see, that is, I think, the authenticity of what you're talking about. You didn't say that, but what I always get from you is that authenticity, that being, I'd love to make money off of my art, but I don't want to like just do the one thing. I want to be able to do a lot of different things and express yourself in so many ways. And so some people, like you said, not knowing how to make that money off of it, I feel like in many ways, once they figure that out, then the art becomes sort of secondhand. And it's like, oh, I'll just do whatever. And it's just producing the same thing over and over.
Yeah, it's hard for me because I do lose interest and everything starts to feel like a job, the second that I figure out how to make some kind of income off of it. It's like, it becomes a kind of a drag.
Right.
No pun.
Well, yeah. And it feels like if there's like a deadline on something, then it's like, okay, well now I'm just going through the motions.
Yeah.
And now I'm bored.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah. It feels sad when your passions start to feel more like, these dreadful projects.
I kind of feel that way when I see like somebody that say does actual painting of a picture. You can't just go to them and say, well, I want to see a little more of this in it. It's like, well, then don't hire me as the artist to create something for you, because I created what I created based on your trust.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
exactly. I've had a couple of commissions for looks, and I'm open to doing commissions, but first of all, I have limited skills. I can't just make anything at this point, and I don't want to create someone else's design of something. So it's kind of like one of those things where if you want me to make something for you, or in any facet, I would have to take that creative lead.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I think, trust someone to do that.
Yeah. And that's probably why I have so few clients.
What if you had the opportunity to go on another reality show, drag or not drag related, would there be one that you would go on?
At this point in my life, I don't think that I would do a reality show. Like, I love Survivor. And in my 20s, I always said, I'm going to audition for Survivor. But at this point in my life, I mean, am I really going to sleep on bamboo with 15 people? Like, I can't sleep that well. And then I'm going to be an asshole. And then I'm going to be an asshole on TV.
Right.
And then, I'm going to divide the group, and then I'm not going to be able to perform. Like, everything is a lot more work than you see sitting on your couch watching. And I don't know if I have that in me at this point.
What about Naked and Afraid?
No.
I don't get it.
I don't get that, because there's no cash prize.
Oh, there's not?
There's not even a prize. It's just bragging rights.
Oh, no, you got me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah.
I think I would survive kind of anything because I just wouldn't move. I would just stay there and be like, 2 weeks? Just chilling out here? They'll come get me.
Mind
I'm
over
good.
matter.
I would not go malnourished at all. I've got plenty stored up. I'm so good. I wouldn't do anything.
No, I would die. I would die. I couldn't do the snakes, the beetles, the rats, you know.
I had this conversation with Kylie Sonique Love, and I said, we were talking about, I don't know how it came up, but cannibalism. And I said,
That's nice.
I would never, nobody would cannibalize me because you want to eat the people that are muscly and have like some texture to them.
Yeah.
You don't want to eat me because I'm just fat and bones. So they wouldn't get any energy off of me. So I would live.
Isn't that what meat eaters enjoy though? Don't they like a big fatty, like
Well, you
marbled?
want like a ribeye. Yeah, marble. I'm not marbled. You could feel my body. Like it's like, I admit it. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
You know when people say like big boned, oh, you're just big boned. I'm not big boned. I have regular bones.
Right.
And there's nothing attached to them but just bingo wings. Like that's it.
I'm going to remember that when we cannibalize. Yeah.
You're going to be like, don't eat Delta.
Yeah. Pass.
Let her live. I want to live. I want to live. That's why they don't want me on those shows. I couldn't do it. And you know, I'm sure you probably experience this as well. I think anybody that's ever done anything reality related knows that from the outset, it's easy for people to go, well, I would have just said this. I would have just done this.
It's so different when you're under studio lights and, you know.
And then you watch, you're like, oh, girl, I'm taking all this with a grain of salt because I know for sure
yes,
that person maybe didn't eat anything. That person probably hasn't gone to the bathroom.
Right.
And you just hold that space.
Yes. Once you've done it, you can sympathize now that you know what's actually probably happening.
And also knowing that like how many times, you know, in a production, they sort of explain like you are a competitor, but you're also a cast member and we're making a piece of television. So
yes,
if you're not giving us anything, you're probably not going to be sticking around because
right. You're there to create a reality show first and foremost. So a lot of people don't get that.
Well, I feel like too. I mean, when we watch any reality show, Drag Race in itself, when people say like, oh, this is the best of the drag in the whole country. And I'm like, no, they're judging it based on the best of what's there right now. There's really great drag all over the place that's never going to be seen on Drag Race because it's a think tank that says this is what's going to work for this season and this is what we're doing and that's how they do it. But so many people think like, oh, that have never seen drag. Oh, so these are the best in the whole country, huh?
Yeah.
Well, they're the best of the applicants.
Right.
But I mean, I'll always watch reality. I'll always watch any of those shows.
Yeah.
I love them.
What's your reality TV show?
For sure, Project Runway. Definitely anything All Stars on Project Runway.
Yes.
What else do I like to watch? Reality show. Well, anything documentary. Like, there's a documentary that I haven't watched yet that I want to watch that's about yacht rock.
Yacht rock?
Yacht rock, which
What's
is
that?
like the style of music that's like, I would say mid 70s to mid 80s. That's like mellow, like Michael McDonald, the Doobie Brothers.
Oh, nice.
What you would consider to be like sort of affluent people on a yacht.
Speaking of yacht, I do love Below Deck.
Okay, I haven't seen that either.
Oh, really?
And you love it?
Yeah, I love Below Deck and there's so much of it. So if you got into it, like you'd be good for like months.
When you fly on an airplane, not that you were going to fly on a bird, but an airplane. When you're on an airplane, what will you watch? Like, I always watch the same thing. I always put on either the First 48 or Crazy Rich Asians.
I was just on a plane and I watched Miss Congeniality.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I honestly pulled out my book. I know.
And was it an audiobook or like actually you were reading?
No, I like to read books.
Do you have a bookmarker?
No, I doggy ear the page.
You just ruin it. Do you ever write inside the book? Like A+, this one was great.
No.
My aunt used to have her own beauty salon and the ladies would bring the romance novels in and they would like leave them in there with the
They would
Inquirer,
grade them.
and they would write inside of there like,
Wow.
great story, A++++, and then love Betsy or whoever like was the lady
Nice.
who. Is that funny?
Yeah, that's actually really helpful. It's
It
kind of like
is.
Amazon reviews before
Yeah.
Amazon. Yeah.
I always loved like the idea of my aunt always she called her salon the shop. She was like, oh, I got to go to the shop. I got to be at the shop. And I always loved being at the shop when I was a
Yeah.
kid. And I think that was part of why I then wanted to get a cosmetology license and do hair.
Yeah.
And then, that sort of, you did hair
I did.
for
Yeah.
a long time.
I did. Yes, I went to the Aveda Institute when I was 17. I graduated before I turned 18, and I was
Wow.
working my first full-time salon gig
Wow.
right when I turned 18. And that's what I did until I went to Drag Race. Eventually, I moved to Chicago, and then I got a job at Chicago Mail. Did you watch Tabitha Salon Takeover?
I did.
So Chicago Mail was on Tabitha Salon
Okay.
Takeover. It was the gayborhood men's barbershop right there on Halstead in
Okay.
Boys Town in Chicago. So I moved to Chicago. I was like, I have to work there. It just makes sense. So I got a job there, switched to doing men's hair. I thought that would be easier
Mhm.
than doing women's hair, but men are just as uptight and just as picky as any woman about their hair.
Sure.
I felt like I could make more money doing men's hair because it's a higher turnaround
Mhm.
and, you see them more often, so you get better tips. And
Do you ever do anyone's hair now?
I do my own hair.
Mm-hmm.
I've always done my own wigs.
Mm-hmm.
I've only really had 1 or 2 wigs made for me throughout my whole drag history. Just because I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. What's your fragrance? What do you like to wear?
Oh, I love Estee Lauder Sensuous.
I love anybody who says Estee Lauder anything.
Oh, yeah.
A major.
Yeah, that's what I
fan.
started drag with.
Really.
That was like my signature fragrance for years. And then Sensuous Nude came out, so I
Mhm.
kind of switched to that for a while. And then Black Opium, YSL,
Yeah.
very good.
Why do I not know this about you? Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
These are so
love
specific.
fragrance. Yes. Miss Dior Cherie,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Stop.
very good. Yeah, but that's all my drag fragrances.
Uh-huh.
My man fragrances are like Nag Champa,
Mhm.
frankincense, myrrh.
When are you a man? When does that happen? How do you decide?
Occasionally, from time to time.
It just happens
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Are you smaller when you're female?
I wish. No, I think I'm bigger
Are you?
because the shoes and the hair and all that crap.
How tall are you?
6.
Okay. 6.
What do you think about
Write
that?
that down. Let's take a break. Do you have something on your mind? Perhaps a burning question. Or maybe you just need me to go off about something. Well, now's your chance. Email me at readmedelta@gmail.com and you just might hear your question on an upcoming episode of Very Delta. Don't be shy, baby. Send me an email. We are back with Pearl. This is the part of the show that we like to call Read Me Delta, where people send in their letters. They have questions, concerns happening in their lives, and we try to address them the best that we can.
Before we begin, I have a gift for you. Just a little
Aw.
thank you for having me on your show,
Oh my
keeping me
God,
relevant.
really?
Yes.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Sorry for the shoddy wrapping.
No, I love. Stop it.
Cute, right?
Are you serious?
I'm so serious.
Oh my God. What are you talking about?
Just a little fan art for my girly pop.
This is the coolest thing ever.
Aw,
It's like exact.
it's you.
Oh, thank you so much. This is so beautiful. Please look at this. This is so beautiful because, some people I shouldn't say this. This is terrible. But they say when you bring someone flowers, like,
Bring a vase.
yes,
Yeah.
don't put them to work.
Right.
Look at
Definitely.
it. I don't have to go to work. The hardest thing I have to do is pick a spot in my dressing room at home.
But
for
how are you
this.
going to hang it? You can't hang a picture.
Well, you said you would come over and fix everything.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm coming over.
I mean, hello.
Hide that Elizabeth Taylor perfume collection.
You can fish through there and see.
I can get a squirt.
Yes. That is so cool. Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm going to take pictures in the room and brag about it. Also, if you want to send a letter, you can send it to readmedelta@gmail.com. Hello, Delta, and other noted excellent persons sitting next to Delta on the right. I'm a professional gay race car driver, and you've shared your thoughts on driving. Surface roads only, go the speed limit. See, I listen. But I have a small fish to fry at the gas station. When I stop for gas, why does the pump need to ask me 7 questions before I can pump gas? If I have to hit more than one button after swiping my card, I get triggered. Car wash? No, I'm at a gas pump. What is this, Zoolander? This feels potentially very Delta. Do you have any small inconveniences in daily life that always trigger you? Keep up the stellar work, keeping us very entertained, very impatient. What about you? Is there any small fish?
That's so random.
I know.
Honestly, I don't leave the house. So not really.
I love that.
I don't like to go out there too much.
Do you eat potato chips or tortilla chips?
I do like the baked Lay's.
Like the plain ones?
Yes.
They're so good.
Yes. I like the crisp.
I
crunch.
think they're actually better than a regular potato chip.
That segue,
For me.
though, from gas pumps to
Because you go to the
potato
gas
chips?
station, you have to buy chips.
Oh, okay.
It's your requirement.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
the
judging you.
constellation. Yeah.
I'm judging you based on, but I have to judge you delicately because I really like you and I really like this gift. So I don't want to say anything mean, but I really wanted you to I wanted you to say like you wanted a nasty Dorito sometimes. Or something.
Oh, I haven't had Doritos in a while.
No.
Well, as I get older, I have like things don't agree with me as much. So like the cleaner.
I bet your insides are clean.
Well, I try.
Yeah.
Because once you hit 30, things start changing.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait till I'm 30 because then I want to see.
Well,
like,
trust me.
yeah.
It's going to change.
Things
for
are going
you.
to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things might drop.
Oh no, that won't happen to me. That won't happen to me. Minor at the gas station. I don't get. Here's what I don't get at the gas station. I don't get C attendant.
Okay.
When it says C attendant, I'm not getting any gas on leave. I don't care. And when the car stops working, well, I guess we get another car. I'm not going to see attendant, you know?
No.
And I have that thing at Chevron where you like put in your phone number and you get a reward.
Yep. I have that.
Not to be up, but 5 cents rebate on the gas.
What are we doing this for?
I'm going to need something more on the gas.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
Because I'm putting in 14 gallons. So you're telling me that I can have 60 cents back?
Yeah.
I want them to say like, oh, today you saved $2 on your gas. Like, I'm not saying per gallon, but like
Yeah.
$2 is
What are
a
we gonna do with
significant
that?
little savings.
It's chips.
It's chips.
Yep.
I think. Dear Delta and guest star. The philosopher Nietzsche once wrote, "The darker the night, the brighter the stars." He was referring to those moments in one's life when he or she is facing a crisis or feels defeated and beaten down, but then finds sources of inspiration to keep going. One of my dark nights was a recent breakup of a 12-year relationship. The stars that guided me through it were certain books, movies, and musical theater, most of which spoke to what I was going through and what we're all going through. What was your dark night and what stars gave you light? With love, Radiant Nights. Huh.
That was poetic.
That was. That's a really nice question, I think.
Mhm.
Have you had dark moments?
Oh, of course. I am a firm believer in reinventing yourself, moving away, running from all of your problems, changing everything, and starting over. I've done it like 4 or 5 times. Works every time. It's great.
I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it, again, I said it earlier about the authenticity. I think, people will reference, everyone that's ever been on any reality show, they'll reference a moment and they'll say, this moment speaks to who this person is, right? So when I pick up this and I'm like, pick me, pick me, pick me, that's what was happening in that moment. That's how I felt in that moment. If somebody says, oh, is there something on my face or whatever, that kind of thing, that was a moment. But other people like to describe a personality as a moment, right? And I think there's an authenticity to saying, when something gets too much or something is just not, it's just not working, there's nothing wrong with reinventing or saying, there's another part of me you don't know.
Yeah. I'm reading the book Practical Magic, the movie. So I'm reading the book. By the way, the movie is better than the book, which is usually the other way around. But there was a quote in the book that I just read the other night, and it was like, sometimes when you're running away, you're running in the exact right direction. And that kind of stuck with me because I have changed the course of my life so many times. I've moved quite a lot. I've moved like from state to state. So it's fun and it's exciting. And you can run from your problems.
Well, you can. I mean, and I think there's definitely power in saying, I just don't have the answer. I know people want you to say like, oh, I'm just going to power through this and I'm going to power through that and I'm going to be better in this same situation. Sometimes you just cannot be in that situation anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And a huge thing that's helped me is just coming to terms with the fact that we're all going to die. Like literally nothing matters.
Right.
This could very well be all a simulation for all we know. So like human issues, you have to take them with a grain of salt and also look at the world around you. Like there's people who have absolutely nothing. And a lot of us take what we have for granted. So, it's kind of corny to say, but gratitude is so freaking important.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I just like when I start feeling down about my situation, I just look around and, focus on gratitude because it could be so much worse.
It really can. I mean, I think too, like you ask about these moments, these dark times or whatever. I think it's always some sort of transitional period for me. So being on Drag Race was a big deal. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to travel the world. And then somehow that just didn't really, going to 3 prides or something and then like kind of falling to the wayside. That wasn't it. And then somehow rejuvenated out of nowhere was like, oh, actually come work behind the camera and your life is going to change and you're going to travel. And it did for a minute. And it seemed like that's going to be that's where I'm going to be now. And then that didn't pan out. And then I was like, okay, back on the chain gang. Like, you know what I mean? Like wheeling that 3-wheeled suitcase to the shows and stumbling in and collecting dollar bills. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, the story that you have to share, somebody wants to hear. And so then I show up to that. And then I meet other people that are like, this could parlay into a podcast. People are doing podcasts. Why don't you do a podcast? And then it just, so those transitional periods is realizing that your voice isn't just one way. And I think with you being here, it's so important for people to see and hear, like when we talk about art, like ripping a brand new home apart and recreating it is art. Creating your home, whether it's in a van or it's wherever it is, you decide that that's your home. You decide where it is. If you're creating art, whatever it is, it's so powerful. And that's what, and I think a lot of people go, I again, going back to, I can't draw. I'm not really an artist. I can't draw.
I was just going to say, like,
can you dance? Can you cook?
Yeah. I was just going to say a lot of people don't feel creative.
Right.
And I feel bad for them because that is always what carries me through, to the next chapter. So I can understand why some people feel a little, discouraged because they, they don't always have like even if it's not like an artistic skill, sometimes you just have to have that like creative life, but just be creative with your life and like what you can do next. And a lot of people lack that foresight. A lot of people don't even know, how to maximize their bedroom, to like sleep better at night.
Right.
People just lack clarity. So I do sympathize.
I do too, because I think, you see comment sections on social media or whatever loaded with people that are ripping other things apart. And I'm not talking politically. I'm just talking about just in general. Oh, you look awful. I don't like this. I don't like that. And there are people that
imagine being like that.
But they've never had somebody say to them, you make really good pancakes. You make really, you have a green thumb. Like, and so if no one's ever told them, they think, well, the only way I'm going to get any attention is at least bad attention.
Right.
It's so sad.
It is sad. And you're right.
You're right.
No, you.
No, I'm right. We're right.
Yeah. I
Thank
love
you
that.
for being here. This was fun.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you on social media? Or do you want them to find you?
Good question. I'm good. No, I'm just kidding.
Good.
It's the same as it's always been. Per Liaison on Instagram. And I'm on TikTok now. I think it's Mr. Pearl on TikTok.
Mr. Pearl Corsets?
No, just Mr. Pearl.
Just Mr. Pearl.
Yeah. But you're right. I should probably rebrand because that doesn't belong to me.
Let's rebrand everything.
Yeah.
What could we what should I be? Should I be Omega instead of Delta?
Delta Omega.
Yeah.
Okay. Is Delta Work a play off Delta Burke?
Yes.
Okay.
That was sort of also the idea of this set was sort of a designing women.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite,
I just love hearing that, with this fascinator and, it's very that.
70 years old. Are you 70
Virgin.
or are you virgin? Some of these reference points, I feel like they move from episode to episode, and people will never. It's like it takes so much explanation that I feel bad even saying them because people are like, "What the are you talking about?" I don't know. Like the 3 people in this room will know, and that's it.
Yeah.
I should write a book. Will you write a book?
I would write a book. Yeah.
What kind of book would you write? It doesn't have to be your life story. It could be a self-help book. It could be hanging up pictures books.
I think it would be cathartic to write a memoir, but I have to be older, I think. I have to have like a more stable ending for that book. But yeah, there's a lot of people that need to be called out, like change their name, change their whatever, but get the story out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Like what we'd see if I wrote a book and I had to change your name, it would be like Diamond Rendezvous.
Wow.
Instead of Pearl Liaison.
Yeah. That's my daughter.
What would my name be? Oh, whatever. We'll figure it out later.
I really like Omega.
I kind of do too. Apex. No, that's different. Apex Predator.
Yeah. You could hyphenate.
Hyphenate.
Omega.
Hyphenate that.
That's shite.
Today on Very Delta, we learned it's never too late to reinvent yourself. We'll see you next week, and until then, keep things very Delta. Very Delta is produced by Moguls of Media, aka Mom. Hosted by Delta Work. Produced and edited by Doug Robertson. Technical direction by Danielle Mitchell. With original theme music by Will Pitts. Media and design support by Stone Cold. And set design by Eris Sevilla. Executive produced by Alaska, Willem, Big Dipper, Camille Stennis, and Joe Cilio. Recorded at Forever Dog Productions. Energy up! Woo!
Mom!
Watch Very Delta uncensored, ad-free, and a day early by subscribing to Mom Plus Gold. Sign up today at mompodcast.plus for premium content, including weekly episodes of more Very Delta.